All right, so today we'll move on to talk about some other interesting facts about different kinds of learning schedules in different countries. And we are going to listen to the script we have here, which is about a day at school. And before we get into this part, before you're listening, what might be the very first step you can do to begin your listening journal? Can anyone answer my question? So what might be the first thing we can do for the listening journal? So please type your answer here in the chat box. What is the first thing to do for the listening journal? Yeah, we should listen and grab some paper, right? And once you have your paper and once you have notebook, and before you get into the listening, what might be the first thing you can check first? Yeah, check the vocabulary exactly. So before we get into the listening, we can take a look at some of the important words we are going to listen to here in this script. And probably they will help you a little bit to understand what the dialogue or what the conversation or what the talk is going to be about. All right, so probably we can take a close look at the vocab we have here. So actually the vocab we have here are quite, oh, probably too big. It's quite kind of easy here. We only have three words, and I think you should know these words already. The first one will be like stuff, right? So stuff will be something like things, all right? So for example, probably you'll say, please put your stuff in your backpacks. Also, please put something or please put your things in your backpacks, all right? And as you can see here, stuff, we don't use any S with this one, but we use things. So stuff will be just the stuff, all right? And this one will be bow. So bow, I think this one is quite similar to all the students here in Asia because in the past, especially in elementary school, in junior high school, probably before each class, you had to stand up and bow and say something like good morning teacher or thank you teacher or bye teacher, things like that, right? But probably in high school, we will not do this one. Probably I can have a quick check. So how many of you had to you had to bow, like stand up and bow and show respect to your teacher in your junior high school? If yes, please type 1. If no, please type 2. Wow, so still quite many of you had this kind of ritual in the classroom. I think in our school, probably most of the teacher will not have this kind of ritual. So it's going to be something quite fresh to you probably, since most of you still had to like show your respect to your teachers in the beginning of the class and also in the end of the class. All right, that's lovely. And another word here will be math. And basically, the full name of math will be mathematics. And I think all of you like math, right? But I also can have a quick question here. If you like math, please type 1. If you dislike math, please type 2. One, 1.1, 1.5. All right, so most of you like math, I guess. So most of you type 1, actually. All right, so probably we can go back to the listening activity here a little bit to see what the talk is going to be about. So as you can see here, the title will be A Day at School. So it's going to talk about some of the things or some of the stuff in school. And also we had two phrases. The very first one about this one probably crack, right? Crack the books. So you know crack, right? You try to break something into pieces. So which means when you crack the books, which means you start to study or you start studying. So for example, like this one, the reason why he isn't doing very well is that he rarely, so rarely, which means nearly not, all right, almost like mostly not anyway. So he rarely cracks the books, which means he seldom cracks the books or he seldom kind of studies. And cut class or mix school, just like here, probably a lot of people will mix school, cut class here online, right? Since this class is not kind of required for you. But yeah, so probably some of you choose to cut class or miss school. And so although some of my daughter's friends cut class a lot, she's at school every day, all right? We are going to listen to the script we have here. And before we get into this one, here are some of the questions probably you have to pay attention to. So probably you can take notes a little bit. So for the very first one, the question is, how does Joshua go to school in Japan? So as you can see, we are going to know how the school life is kind of the school life there looks like, okay, in Japan, all right? And so probably you can say he takes the school bus every day. He walks with his girlfriends. He rides the subway at 8 a.m. So you can think about how does Joshua go to school in Japan. And next one, which item did Joshua not take to school? So what might be the things that Joshua kind of like he doesn't need to bring that to school, all right? We have like gym clothes, a school hat, and also a backpack. And what does Josh or Joshua, I think Josh will be the nickname for him actually. So what does Josh do first when he gets to school? So he has to practice reading and writing or stand and bows or like put his gym clothes for class. And then where does Joshua eat lunch at school? All right. So I think I mentioned this question before, right? It's very interesting that here in Asia, especially here in Taiwan, usually we have lunch in our classroom, but you can check this one whether we had the same thing in Japan or we had another kind of different thing here in Japan. Then Joshua probably gets home from school between, so when does he leave school? So probably you can check the answers we have here. So you have to pay attention to the time and the place, all right? And also what, okay? What does he bring to school? And also what here? And then how does he go to school, all right? So let's listen to this one carefully and later on let's try to answer the questions we have here, all right? So let's get started.
Hello, today I'm interviewing Joshua on his experiences going to a Japanese school. Now, Joshua, what time do you go to school?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. And do you go by yourself or on a school bus?
No, I have a group that goes with me.
So you go with a group.
Uh-huh.
Now, what kinds of things do you take to school?
I take my Taisofuku, that is gym clothes, and I take my backpack to have my books
Oh, okay.
and stuff like that.
Okay, and what is the first thing you do when you get to school?
We do kirits there.
Kirits and de. Now, what are those?
It means stand up,
Okay.
bow.
Stand up and bow.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and what do you study at school?
We study kokugo, that is writing and reading and stuff like that.
Okay,
And Sanskrit, that's math.
okay,
And let's see, we do gym too.
okay. And where do you eat lunch? Do you have a lunchroom or cafeteria?
No, we eat in our classroom.
You eat in your classroom?
Yes.
Oh, wow, that is very interesting. Now, what time do you come home from school?
We come home sometimes at 3, and sometimes at 2.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Joshua.
You're welcome.
All right, so I think it's quite short here. So how many of you need to like listen to this one again? If you need to listen to it again, please type 1. If not, please type 2. So if you think you need to listen to this one again, please type 1. If not, please type 2. All right, so probably we can listen to this one again. So wait a second.
Hello, today I'm interviewing Joshua on his experiences going to a Japanese school. Now, Joshua, what time do you go to school?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. And do you go by yourself or on a school bus?
No, I have a group that goes with me.
So you go with a group.
Uh-huh.
Now, what kinds of things do you take to school?
I take my Taisofuku that is gym clothes, and I take my backpack and my books
Oh, okay.
and stuff like that.
Okay, and what is the first thing you do when you get to school?
We do kirits there.
Kirits and they. Now, what are those?
It means stand up,
Okay.
bow.
Stand up and bow.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and what do you study at school?
We study kokugo, that is writing and reading and stuff like that.
Okay,
And Sanskrit, that's math.
okay,
And let's see, we do gym too.
okay. And where do you eat lunch? Do you have a lunchroom or cafeteria?
No, we eat in our classroom.
You eat in your classroom?
Yes.
Oh, wow, that is very interesting. Now, what time do you come home from school?
We come home sometimes at 3 and sometimes at 2.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Joshua.
You're welcome.
All right, so right now probably we can take a close look at some of the questions we have here. So let's move on to the very first one we have here. So how does Joshua go to school in Japan? What might be the answer? It should be 1, 2, or 3. Please type your answer in the chat box. 1, he takes the school bus every morning. 2, he walks with a group of friends. 3, he rides the subway at 8 a.m. All right, so mostly like type 2 here. All right, so he walks with a girlfriend. Yes, like 8 o'clock. And do you go by yourself? So probably I can invite someone to read these 2 sentences for us a little bit. So let's have, I just pick a random number. Anyway, do we have da, 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 da. Probably that's Hao En. Okay, Zhang Hao En, would you read? Can you be Randall?
8 o'clock. And do you go by yourself or on a school bus?
All right, lovely. And next one, Wei Kai, Zhang Wei Kai, would you be Joshua here? Wei Kai, not here. Then Wei Chen, Zhang Wei. Hey, can you use the microphone or not? No, all right, that's all right. Then let's have Wei Chen. Would you turn on your microphone and read the sentence for us? No, I have a group. Zhang Wei Chen. Either. Then let's have Fang Ci, Zhang Fang Ci. Would you read this one?
No, I have a group that goes with me.
All right, lovely. Roll here, sorry for this one. So actually it says I take my gym clothes, right, and also backpack, right? So probably they are not required to bring the school hat to school. But I have one interesting question for you. Do you know which country or which place requires a student to bring a school hat or bring a hat to school every day? Would you like to type your answer here? You can make some guesses. I remember when I was an elementary school student here in Taiwan. Yeah, in elementary school, basically we had to wear our school hat to school every day. Do you have to do so now? Like in your elementary school, did you need to bring a school hat and wear that to school every day? Yes, for some of you, right? Yeah, and I also remember that like we had to go to school with a group of people. Like usually, if we lived in the same neighborhood, and this group of kids will kind of go to school together every morning, so they'll just like kind of go from one door to another and try to go to school together, things like that. I don't know what might be the case here. All right. So actually, there will be the kind of things in Australia, because when I was in like in Queensland, especially in Brisbane, like even for the high school students, they had to bring a hat to school every day. That's because when they go outdoors, they have to wear a hat because like the sunshine there is kind of strong, so they kind of ask their students to wear hats to protect themselves from kind of being kind of getting too much exposure to the sunshine, right? To protect themselves. So basically, when they go outdoors, they have to wear a hat. There'll be things like that. All right. Then we can move on to the next question we have here. So, what does Josh do first when he gets to school? So, what might be the answer? 1. He practices his reading and writing. 2. He stands and bows to the teacher. And 3. He puts on his gym clothes for class. All right, so mostly you type 2. Yes. So that's has someone been a Randall and Joshua as well. So Li Chuanhong, would you read the part of Randall? Chuanhong. Not here. And how about Jiahua, Li Jiahua? Okay, either. Then let's have Mengxin, Li Mengxin. Would you read the part of Randall?
Okay, and what is the first thing you do when you get to school?
All right, lovely. And then let's have Yan Chen. Would you read the part of Joshua? Lin Yan Chen.
We do
起立子类。You mean this one? 起立子类。
please right.
Okay, so why they'll be Japanese and then
Now what are those? It means stand up and bow.
Okay. Yeah, lovely. Thank you. All right. So basically there'll be 起立子, which means like stand up, and 礼, which means like politeness, that you show respect. All right. Then where does Joshua eat lunch at school? So what might be the answer? It should be 1, 2, or 3. Yeah, mostly 3, right? Then probably I can ask some questions, because like in Japan, especially for the elementary school, primary schools, usually they will have their school kitchen. So the school kitchen will prepare lunch for their kids. And for some of the junior high school, and maybe yes, but for senior high, some of them yes, but mostly probably they will bring their lunch from home, or they have a kind of school cafeteria or school kind of restaurant, or like, yeah, things like that. And they can choose to bring their own lunch to school, or they can also buy something. And I remember like when I was in Japan, like the high school student usually will bring their lunch from home, but still they will go to cafeteria because they like to interact with different students from different classes over there. And they can also buy some like drinks or some fries, like French fries or like fried chicken over there, to make their lunch much richer, or with some hot food. Because for lunch box usually will be some cold food, and they can buy some hot food in the cafeteria. All right. So probably next time when you come to our school, probably you can also go to our tuck shop to buy some hot food. Like we have buns, hot dogs, eggs, some small pieces of pizza, and chicken nuggets, I guess. Yeah, there will be some hot food in our school tuck shop. So probably can try that one next time. And for the very last question, so Joshua probably gets home from school between, so what might be the time? So please type your answer. It should be 1, 2, or 3. Right, mostly type 3. Yeah, so we come home sometimes at 3 and sometimes at 2. So it's really kind of early, right? Especially for an elementary school kid. All right, so there might be some of the question we have here. Then we move on to the script we have here a little bit. All right, so if we try to make this kind of intro to kind of Joshua school life into some kind of like introduction or kind of speech or like a talk that Joshua makes, probably the script will be something like this. So we can take a look at some of the key points here and think about, if you are going to introduce your school life, how will you introduce it? All right. So for example, you can start from like, hello, I'm Joshua. So there'll be your name. Like, hello, I'm Tim. Hello, I'm Tom. Or, hello, I'm Mary, for example. Today, I'm going to share my experience of going to a Japanese school. So here you can think about what might be the school that you like to introduce. You can try to imagine yourself studying in a US school, like a school in the USA, or like you study in a school of like Australia or in some other places around the world. And then you can imagine what might be the school life there kind of looks like. All right. So first, so we'll start from the very beginning. So first, we go to school with a group at 8 o'clock. And probably in the case, probably we go to school by bus or at kind of 7 or 6:30, I guess. So there will be different ways you go to school, and also when you arrive at school. So there'll be the time, like at 8 o'clock, and also how do you get to school. And on each school day or every day, so what might be the things you will take to school? For example, you will take, probably here in Taiwan, we'll take our books to school every day, right? My gym clothes or my backpack and also my books to school. But basically, Australia, I don't think they will bring their books. Basically, especially because when I was in Brisbane, usually each kid will have a kind of iPad or kind of notebook. And usually the books are all e-books. And if they want to have a hard copy, they can borrow the books from their teachers or from the library. But basically, they use the e-books. So they don't have their own books, especially for the hard copies. Usually they use the e-books. And what they will get on like kind of the kind of paper thing, they'll get just like worksheets or assignment or tests. They'll be printed on a piece of paper. But for the books, basically they have to check on their kind of iPad or on their notebooks. So basically they don't have the kind of hard copy. They kind of thing they have to bring to school every day. So you can think about what might be the cases in some of the countries. So I take gym clothes, my backpack, and my books to school. Then the first thing we do in school is stand up and bow. All right. So you can think about what might be the very first thing we do here in Taiwan. Would you like to type your answer here? What might be the very first thing we had to do here in Taiwan in your cases or in terms of experience? What is the very first thing we have to do here in school, here in Taiwan? So please type your answer in the chat box. Yeah, some people type the answer like we kind of had to clean the classroom first, right? Yeah, that might be the things you had to do here. And what might be the other things in terms of experience? What might be the first thing you need to do in school? Chat with classmates. So that's really lovely, all right? Handing homework. It sounds difficult and harsh. And what else? Talk to friends. Take a quiz. Yes, I think so. I think in high school, basically every day, like in the morning, basically you have a quiz. Like Friday morning will be English listening test. Thursday will be math. And Wednesday will be the morning assembling. So basically you had to go to the grassland and then you had to listen to our principal's talk or things like that. And on Tuesday, I remember it should be like Chinese or something. And Monday should be like science or stuff like that. So basically every morning you will have a test here in high school. So probably you need to think about how you are going to kind of get used to it anyway. But I think like mostly probably some of you would choose like to like a lot of kids, a lot of students in primary school especially had to clean the campus or they clean their classroom. And that might be the very first thing they had to do in school. All right. And then so he says like which is about showing our respect to teachers. So especially explain what might be the things here. So if you still remember the grammar pattern we learned yesterday, here it should be like which, right? So which here refers to the thing we talked about here before, right? So which is about showing our respect to teachers. And we study Japanese and math, and we do gym too, right? So there'll be three most important things in elementary school, I guess, like for the language and then for math and also for PE. Okay, here we use like PE, physical education. So think about the questions we have here. So what might be the most three important things or three most important subjects we have to learn here in Taiwan? So probably you can type the most important one. I think I asked this question before, right? So we have like the answer like math, English, Chinese, science, and and also like, what else? Yeah, Chinese as well. All right. And then for we do gym, do you think that PE classes are very important here in Taiwan? You think PE classes are really important and kind of matters a lot? Please type 1. If you think no, just like time for us to relax, and please type 2. Wow, so mostly, like most of you type the answer 1, so yes. And actually, the P classes here in our school are also very kind of challenging and tough, because I think you will know that very soon, because our PE teachers are really hardworking, and they like to train their students into someone who can climb the Mount Jade, or climb the mountains, or do the marathon. So I think you are going to have a lot of kind of challenging tasks in the PE classes. So make sure you kind of train yourself in a strong way and be healthy and stay strong. Because for PE classes, I think the most difficult classes here in our school is not English or math. Actually, it should be like PE, because our PE teachers are really kind of experts, and they will try to change all of you into someone who can run a marathon or like climb the high mountains or things like that. So be careful. Anyway, so here it says like we eat lunch in our classroom at 11:50 and we come home at 3 o'clock. And I think we all enjoy our lunch at 12 o'clock, so that'll be quite the same. But before that, we also go to a language school to study something else. Like in Japan, the school life is quite amazing and I like it. All right. So how many of you can kind of just go home directly after school without going to like a cram school or going to somewhere else? If you can just go home directly after school, please type 1. If not, you have to go to somewhere else like cram school, please type 2. I think I have and have. So some of you can choose to go home directly after school, but probably some of you need to go to another place like cram school or like some kind of language institute to learn something else. All right. So they'll be lovely for this one. So you can think about try to make a comparison and contrast like between different kinds of school life. If you have this one, and I probably just stop here for this task, and I'll talk about this one once if you are in my class when a new semester starts. Anyway, so let's move on to the very last things here. So for the summer courses, for our summer course, we have some assignment, like 4 things to do per week. And can you tell me what might be the very first one you have to finish every week? It should be 2 something. It's about what? The very first icon we have on the left-hand side. The keywords will just be like 4 letters, which starts from N. Yes, news, right? So how many news reports do you need to watch per week? Yeah, just 2, right? And also, how many sentences are you going to copy from each news report? Yeah, 1 sentence from 1 news report, right? And what might be the second one? I think the second one is quite straightforward, right? So we had to watch 2 news episodes and read an articles as well. And what might be the second one? Yeah, you had to do the listening journals, right? So how many listening journals are you going to keep per week? Yes, 2. Then for this one, I think we all finished this one already. That's about the grammar lesson we have here online. And we also finished 3 grammar tests as well. And the last one will be some of the extra tasks. I kind of give it to you, like the self-intro, like you had to post a photo with some brief sentences to talk about yourself, especially something about your special number. And also you have upload a video clip about your self-introduction. So basically, there'll be the 4 things you have to do for this summer course. And to tell you in a direct way, because nowadays, because now you are a high school student. So in other words, you are going to be, the keywords here will be, you are going to be responsible for yourself. So one thing probably you'll feel quite surprised will be something like that. Your teachers are not going to ask you to hand in your assignment from day 1 to day 3 or day 4, day 5 until last day. You had to hand in assignment based on your schedule, and you had to hand in your assignment, hand your homework on time. If you forget to hand your assignment, no, I think most of the teacher will not remind you that, because you have to be responsible for yourself. And if you choose not to hand in your assignment, I think most of the teachers will also respect your choice if you choose not to hand in your homework. But in the end, you had to be responsible for yourself, since most of assignments will kind of take a part of the points or scores for a semester. So in other words, if you choose not to hand in assignment, basically on each exam, you have to get like 90 points and 100 points. And you think that's easy for you, then probably you can think about, like, if you really don't want to choose to hand your homework. So basically, as a high school student, we are not going to treat you like a kid or like a child anymore. You are going to do anything based on your decision and based on your choice. If you choose to do so, and if you decide to do so, for example, if you decide to, or you decide not to hand in an assignment or hand your homework, basically, we teachers, especially I think English teachers, will respect your choice. But in the end, you have to be responsible for yourself. All right. There'll be all the things like as a high school student. So you can start to think about, because you still have 1 month to go, and you can think about how you are going to manage your time in high school. And especially when the new semester starts, the learning schedule is going to be very exciting and very tight and very busy. So make sure you get ready and kind of prepare yourself before you enter high school, especially in terms of English. If you have something that you don't quite get it, make sure you go back and review a little bit, because if you still remember, like, how many words do you need to memorize as a junior high school student? Please type your answer. How many words are you going to memorize? Yeah, the baseline will be 1,200, right? Or some people might say 2,000, normal 2,000. But here in high school, in senior high school, probably the vocabulary bank, like, you had to make into like 5,000 to 6,000. So in other words, you can think about how busy it's going to be like in 2 years, because you only had 2 years to prepare for a college entrance exam. Because for the very last year, you are just review everything. So you are going to learn the new things in high school for 2 years. So you can think about, you are going to spend like 2 years memorizing about how many words? If you want to make 1,200 into like 5 or 6,000, so nearly like 5,000 words. So you can think about, like, in just 1 year, you have to memorize about 2,500 words. And you just kind of divide it into part. You can think about like how many words you are going to memorize every day. All right. So, like, especially for language learning, there'll be kind of daily habit. So you have to try to spend some time every day and try to put up all the things all together in the end. It's not going to be something you can just get very quickly. There will be some kind of gradual steps, or you have to do that step by step and one by one. So you can think about for the very last months, what you are going to do to kind of improve your English a little bit and try to keep a habit of like learning English like at least like 1 hour per day. Yeah. And if not that much time, probably like 30 minutes will be fine. So it depends on your schedule daily. It depends on your daily schedule. So you think about this one. So tomorrow I'll move on to talk about the things you are going to do for your summer vacation assignment. So we are going to have a homework for you to do for your summer vacation. So make sure you show up tomorrow, and we'll talk about that in details tomorrow. All right. So if you had no more question, please enjoy it. It's about tea time, right? Morning tea time. So probably you can enjoy your morning tea time as Australia kids. All right. Have 30 minutes to enjoy your cake or cookies or biscuits with a cup of coffee or drinks or juice anyway. All right. So see you tomorrow. Bye.